Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? It's wee Paddy from across the shuck, and you're very welcome back to the channel. Well, you've seen by the title, this is my final thoughts on the Jack Wolf Knives Pioneer Jack, which is a modern interpretation of a sodbuster. Remember that first word, modern interpretation. I know sodbusters that we normally have just a full scale. There's no bolster. You usually have a big bird's eye rivet. But this is a modern interpretation of one. This is not an old sodbuster, and that's very important. Now, the shape, and I'll put it up against some other ones in a minute. I adore this shape, and it's funny. I heard somebody last night. I was on a live, watching a live the other night, and I heard somebody saying that the bottom part of this bothered them, where it is chamfered all the way around the bottom there. I'll get this up. You can see it's chamfered, and that's soft. That's to soften the edges, right? There's no sharp edge here, no sharp edge on the top here. There's a reason for that there. It still has that beautifully chiseled look about it, as a Jack Wolf knife does. Chiseled look, I think, is a nice word. It has that similar sodbuster shape. Let's see, the length of this is, let me just get this in the right way. The close length is 3 3/4. Perfect length, absolutely perfect. The blade length, and bearing in mind I'm in the UK, the blade length is under 3 inches from the bolster, not just the blade itself, from the bolster, because rules are a-changing. So it's completely legal here, which is super, because it doesn't look like a blade that's under 3 inches. That, to me, that looks like a really good, the cutting edge is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. This is probably the first Jack Wolf knives that, to me, is not a beauty queen. It's not got some of them curves that the other Jack Wolves had. And that's a really positive thing. To me, this is the first Jack Wolf knife and this is, again, this is just my opinion. It's the first working Jack Wolf. The rest can be used, there's no doubt about it. They're all perfectly made knives that can be used. They've got the blade steel, they've got everything, all the bells and whistles. You can either have it as a safe queen or you can have it as a working knife. I tend to use mine, but again, I have to be honest, I get these for nothing. Would I use this if I had to pay for it myself? Yes, dead simple, absolutely yes. This to me is a working knife. It has that distant look of an old-fashioned sodbuster, and that's more to do with the handle shape and the blade shape, because this is so handy for everything you want to do. Slight little, well, it's not even a drop point, well, maybe just a little bit of a drop point, but not very much, but a lovely bit of belly up here, a super pointy tip, but in a blade stock. Look at that. This does not go down like a needle, like a lot of the Jack Wolves will do. This is meant for working. And an S90V, this is a great steel for working. It just lasts for ages. Lasts for ages. It's amazing. I've only stropped this, but I've used it quite a lot. Now, I haven't used it on food and things like that, which is why there's no markings on it, and it cleans up. And the other thing I like about Jack Wolves, when you use them, you very rarely, especially with these, look at these vertical grind lines, you very rarely see scratches on them. I think I've got maybe one knife that's got a scratch on it from just everyday use. Now, I don't mean hard use. This is everyday use, EDC. And that's what this is. It's an everyday usable knife. And it's the first one that I felt, this is absolutely, this is an absolutely super usable knife. I love the blade steel. It's maybe not as deep as some of them. So the grind it's a hollow grind, but they haven't gone over the top. This isn't going to bend the first time you put a little bit of torque on it. It's not going to. Although I don't suggest putting torque on any knife with a very thin grind. But work-wise, this will do absolutely anything. And this is my new sharpness test. I've been doing this recently. This is my new sharpness test. It's getting the knife and going down just a little bit of paper like this, slowly. Look at that. How flippin' sharp is that? Do you need a knife any sharper than that? Absolutely not. You really don't. I just think that is fantastic. And they've, all Jack Wolf knives come like that. It's a trend that I hope never stops. They are just cutting machines. And this is a working knife with that sort of edge on it. Amazing. Amazing. I love the three-ring bolster. This is nearly like a Barlow sodbuster. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I'm trying to find names to describe it, but it is, I love this. Love it. This handle material I'm going to come back to. The fit and finish of this is absolutely, and the way it's stepped down here, you can see that it's not, it comes along straight and then it steps down, and it's not rounded down. You can see where it has been, can you see that? It has been hafted, ground in 3 different places. You can see that. Really clinical how they do that. Look at that. Straight up and down, completely erect. One here and one here. I just moved the light until you'd see that. They are perfectly aligned, and there is not a gap or a hint of a gap in any position. This, it's nearly like a modern day coffin. It's cut off in both corners, and in the hand, let me tell you this, I have a large hand, so that's maybe, look, this sits in here. This is absolutely no feeling. This is never going to hurt me in here. I moved it around to there, down a bit lower. Again, not going to hurt me. Incredibly comfortable. And you would have got my word for that. But it's comfortable. It really is hafted so well and so cleverly that it just doesn't stick in there. Now, again, Jack Wolf, my big thing about Jack Wolf is that auditory sound that every Jack Wolf makes. Listen to this. I'll be quiet for a second. Look at that. That is a regimental sergeant major coming to a stop. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I just love that. There we are, centered completely down the center. So again, I always mention the price. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's too dear for what it is." Do you know it's not? Well, everybody would like something cheaper, but sometimes you just have to go by what you get and what you have to spend to get it. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. It's, it really is simple. I'm quite happy. There's plenty more you can get. I'm going to show you 2 other good ones, but this is one I think you should get, especially if you want a high-end usable knife. This is perfect. Absolutely beautifully done. The material on this here is Ultim, which is the new hip material. Well, I'm 64 and I'm not that hip. It doesn't excite me as it does a lot of other people, but that's because I'm 64. I'm not very hip. Do you know, I'm trying. I had the choice to get this one, and I did. And it is different. I love the color. It's a real like caramel color, and it's something like, it reminds me of I was going to say nanny goat horn, but ram's horn. I have lost the plot, haven't I? So ram's horn, not nanny goat horn, but if you want to call it nanny goat horn, you just go ahead. It's got that clear sort of look through it. You can see through it. It's not coming across great in camera, but you can see through to the pins. I don't know if you can see that there. Let me see if I can show. Yeah, there you go. You can see through to the pins. It's got that cloudy horn look, and I like that. It's just the feeling of it is not doing it for me. It's just, that's it. This is not particularly, but is it comfortable? Absolutely. Does it look good? If you like this more modern type of material, yes. But it does remind me of horn. It's like a synthetic version of a horn handle, a ram's horn handle. So absolutely fine. Now, the only thing I'm going to pull again, and I know Ben's going to not enjoy what I'm going to say, this choil here, this blade, for me, they're not bringing the blade up to the end. This side's not too bad, but they need to be bringing that up about halfway to there so that you don't get a smile on the end there. There's very little there, but when I turn it over the other side, on this side, you can see the smile is already there. Can you see that? And I know that's not a big thing. That doesn't affect the knife, but at this price, I don't want that. That's not what I want. You can see where this hasn't been brought up here to try. It's actually sitting right out at the end. Can you see this little line here? That's the end, and that's where you're going to get a smile. I know it's not very much, but that should be at least another millimeter at least on up, or maybe even 2 mil. well, a mil and a half maybe, to get that to clear this, so that if you're a hand sharpener, you're not going to get that smile. If you're any kind of sharpener, you're not going to get that smile. And that, I know it's silly, but that bugs me. Just my thing. Just my thing. And I think because of hand sharpen, I love the fact that there's a choil cut there, but if you're going to do it, and I think it, at the price that you're paying for this, that has to be done right. And it's like two in a row. I mean, I can extend that. I have no problem. I've got little diamond files. I can extend that out. There's not a problem with me doing that. And I will do it whenever I've shortened it. But I don't think it should be there. So there you are, Ben, slapping the wrist from Paddy. I hope you take it in the manner, because I want these to stay as good as they are. And I just think I've had a couple now that have just been on that really edge verge, but especially this side, it just doesn't look nice to me. And when you get a knife this expensive, I spend a lot of time looking up closely, and the small imperfections, and I've only ever had small imperfections, but I think this needs to be addressed, because one side it was taken up. Let me just show you again. Right, you can see here where this line is, right? This is where the blade is hafted right up to here, coming to the end of the choil, and it's halfway up, so there's no smile there when I sharpen. On this side, let me just show you. You can see where this has not been taken straight across. It's at an angle from here. If that angle is kept all the way down, you don't get a smile. But when you let it stretch out to there, you're going to get a smile on it, and you can see that. I hope you can see that. I know this is a small thing to most people, but small things matter when in a premium knife to me. But as a user, I can't fault it one little bit. It is beautiful to use. It's just beautiful. As a worker, absolutely amazing. And I have been using it, and I will continue to use it. The swedge in the top is a different type of swedge again. Let me just show you the swedge on top. Can you see that? And how beautifully centered that swedge is. And then you come down and it deepens. And it goes from here right the way out to the end and gives a lovely strong tip for a sodbuster style of a knife. So I love it. It is a fantastic knife. It is a working Jack Wolf knife, and they all work. But again, for a lot of people, these are expensive, and it'll be in their safe. It's a safe knife, a safe queen. Let me put it against another one of our all-time favourites, and that is the case. There's the case sodbuster. A little bit smaller in the blade, a little bit smaller in the handle, but not much. It's a small sodbuster. It's about the same depth of blade. Let me show you the depth of blade. Oh, no, there's, they're not, especially with the swedge up here, it takes it away. They're about exactly the same thickness. So if you know what that feels like, this is just slightly bigger than it. And here would be, for me, in my collection, this is my favourite sodbuster. And this is my JWK number 71 bullnose. I just adore it. The blade just a little bit bigger on the bullnose. The handle fraction longer, not that much. It's about the same length of handle. Not that much difference in it at all. So if you know what this feels like in hand, you're getting it. Now, let me just show you them side by side. And this is maybe where I think the difference is. The blade stock is 3mm. It's thicker on this one, but it comes down actually to a thicker tip, which I like. But it's the difference in the handle thing. This is one of the most comfortable knives to work with. I believe this one is beautiful, but I think maybe the next time I would love it if it came to the center point and then flared out just a little bit to give you that sort of bulbous feeling, and maybe rounded rather than, giving that sort of lovely rounded like you get. There you go. There's the bullnose from JWK. See that lovely rounded bit there? It's nice and fat. I don't think the fatness needs to go right up to here, but I think you could conceivably get, even from here, getting that coming out a little bit, just a little bit more bulbous to give you that security of that big back handle of the JWK. But that's for the future. This, I mean, I'm not a designer. I'm just giving wee thoughts that's in my head. And that's what I'm supposed to do. These are fantastic. This is in 1095, and this one's in CV, the case CV. This outlasts them by weeks. Just if you're just using it as EDC, this will outlast them by weeks. So there is a difference in the knives. They're not all the same. This is a fantastic work knife. It's beefy, and for long use, this would still be the one I would go for. But an EDC knife that does the jobs that a sod buster would do, as in a bit of everything, this is class. This is class. These are classics. This is absolute class with the fit and finish, the materials, absolute class. And I just want to show you, just look at that tiny wee choil I put on there. No smile. No smile. And that's in a tiny wee choil. That's such a big choil. And they're missing that, or they're missing it, or just about nearly missing it. And after one or two sharpens, I would have to extend that choil. And again, I can do that. I just don't want to. Not in the first sharpening. So there you go. I'll take these out of the way. Two great knives, and there's no knock on them whatsoever. They're fantastic, and they'll do the job. This is just a classy version of them. I think it's lovely. I really do. I really think that this is a massive hit. And if I was you, there seems to be, the feedback I've had on my video so far has been overwhelmingly people want to have this. And you're so right. Get it, and get it fast. Don't be like the last time and miss out. You've seen how fast it went the last time. This is every bit as good. And when you get it in hand, yep, I think it'll make sense to you. I absolutely think it'll make sense. It's a big hit for me. I'm going to give this one 9.5 out of 10, and it's that tiny little thing that takes half a mark off. I'm such a strict man. All right, folks. Ben, thank you very much. Another great design, a lovely knife. And the design patterns, the carbon fiber and the titanium that these come with, apart from the Ultim. And if you like Ultim, this is perfect Ultim. They are just superb patterns. Get them. Do not miss out. Do not miss out. And it's for you, those of you in the UK, it'll be about 7 o'clock on Friday the 22nd, which is this Friday coming, at Frame Our Knives. Good old Frank will be there, or somebody else will do the telephone work and get them out to you as soon as they possibly can. Head on over there. And Frank, thank you very much for all that you put in, and everybody else associated with the knife. And it gives me the privilege of showing this knife off. Take care. Bye-bye now. Cup of tea time.